Penultimate and Leigh, how are you two doing? It's so great to finally meet the two of you.
I know, you
Nice to meet
too.
y'all. We're here. We're good.
We want to talk to you about your overall amazing race experience. I want to jump back to the very beginning. What kind of prompted you to even apply in the first place, and how many times have you applied before?
I applied twice before, never heard anything back. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to compete on something, especially the Amazing Race. After it clicked in my head, I was like, this is my best friend. And he understands me in a way that nobody else on this planet does. And I think we'd be a great team. So I kind of forced
drug
him.
me along.
Steve, did you ever think in a million years that you all would be cast on the show?
Absolutely not. I kind of went along with the first couple phone calls, like this isn't gonna happen.
He even said it.
It got real quick.
He even said when we were doing our audition tape, he was like, I don't want to do this. And I was like, well, it probably won't go anywhere anyways. Like I've done this twice before. We never got a call back, and we didn't get a call back for about 6 months. And so we kind of forgot. We were like, all right, well, there it goes again.
But thank goodness we did, because what an experience. And I got to give the Amazing Race credit. Bertrand and them have come up with it's the real deal. And I sitting at home watching it, thinking I can couch potato this and get my little 10-minute mile down. And no, that didn't work. That didn't work. They had me sucking air the whole time, but it's
So when did it start to feel real for the two of you that we are going on the Amazing Race, and how did the two of you prepare?
When Kayla called us, she actually started off the call with like a kind of a sad demeanor, you remember? And then she told us that we were on, and we were both like screaming on the phone. We were so excited. We were like, this is happening. This is the trip that I've always wanted to go on with my dad that I could never get him to go on. And he had no choice. He was going.
Well, I mean, going into it, I said this before, we were thinking, we just don't want to be the first team out. We want to stay in the middle of the pack. We want to, at least survive a few. And, making it as far as we did is there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think we ran a good race, and I had a great teammate. We'd do it all over again.
I love it. I mean, yeah, not going home first. You guys made it all the way to the top 4, which, like you said, that's a huge accomplishment in itself with 13 teams, no non-elimination legs. I want to fast forward to India. Did you guys ever think that you would have been targets for the blind U-turn vote?
Not until leg 3 and 4, I think, whatever they were, because we said, oh, we put a target on our back. Now we've led too much.
Well, I remember even in India after the bowl challenge, we said it like right when we got done and we looked back and no one else had even been up there. We were both like, we just put a target on our backs because we just blew through that. I think we did a great job of picking challenges, and other cast members said it. They were like, when we see Steve coming, we're scared.
Well, I kept thinking that, maybe somebody had rubbed somebody else wrong, and that we had a couple of teams in our alliance. And I said, number-wise, it won't be us. But I saw my hat from 300 yards away on a picture on the side of the road in India. It's like, it's us.
Yep, we're like, God. It's us. Here it is. And then our rickshaw driver wouldn't let us out.
No.
They made us go all the way down. We'd already seen that it was us. They made us go all the way down and all the way back. And I was just like, let us out of the dang rickshaw so we can get started on this.
Oh my gosh.
What was going through your head when you were U-turn? Like, what happened to your day? Like, how did it affect you?
You know what? The effect I remember is we said we got to crack down and just work slow and steady and not end up in last place is all we've got to do. And we made it through the first one so quick. When we showed up at the second one, I think too quick. We got to the second one. We were loading right next to John and Greg, first place. We were dead even with first place after a U-turn, and then production stopped us and said we didn't get our receipt from the first one. So we had an hour, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. Just when we pulled up at the first challenge, the guy said, y'all are good, go. It was a waste of time. We turned around, came right back. But I think catching them that quick,
I think they realized it wouldn't have been for good TV.
Maybe not, because we should have been right back up there on the leader.
And we asked too. I think it was just a miscommunication. And
so after that, it was just frustration. It was just, we have to get there, get back, and go to work. And another thing they didn't show is about 20 little village kids came and helped me push that car.
So
Thank goodness they did.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that.
Running down the road, I had
cool.
a herd of them pushing me.
Well, I think it's no secret that you two were great competitors this season. We loved the Texas Heat personally. To survive a U-turn is huge in and of itself. Not a lot of teams in Amazing Race history can survive a U-turn. So hats off to the two of you. Going into the penultimate leg, I want to know kind of where do you think the leg started to go wrong for the two of you? Just because I feel like you guys have been such a great team and you are so competitive.
Just directions.
Well, they didn't show either that we were there. We were pulling into the stadium and we were told that we had to turn back because we paid on the wrong floor.
We
don't know if it would have, looking back, we shouldn't have gone back.
Yeah,
we actually had to go back into town, navigate, find the parking spot again,
and pay on the first floor instead of the second floor. I don't know if that would have been a penalty, if that it did have a little yellow and red flag on, so it probably would have been. But not knowing, we paid, we left the garage, we just did it on the wrong floor.
And that going back took us at least 35-40 minutes back. And so I genuinely believe, and I'll have PTSD for the rest of my life because we shouldn't have gone back, and I think we would have still been in it.
Yeah, and the second edit part of that is we ran into the stadium behind Jill and Greg. We had them in sight, and they were so we knew we were still very close to them. It made it look like we were still driving when they were doing the back thing, but we watched them do it.
And it goes to show the editing too, because there's an entire challenge that we did. We actually got in harnesses and we rappelled down the side of a Megatron. Everybody did. That wasn't shown at all.
I don't think they had time. That was a long leg.
Yeah, it was so cool though. Like we had to harness ourselves down the Megatron. It was one of the coolest challenges.
We were right behind them and we just couldn't catch them.
It was all so cool. Now, Anna Leigh, you are a big traveler. You've been traveling for many years. Do you feel like your travel experience really helped you on The Amazing Race?
Yes and no. You've got to navigate yourself. When I'm out traveling just for work or whether I'm traveling for fun, I get GPS. So having to rely on instinct, I didn't grow up in a generation where I had to use maps. I've always used GPS. And so having to rely on instinct for they said 10 kilometers, how far is that? That was way out of my realm. I couldn't, if we would go down the road 5 minutes, I would freak out oh my gosh, we missed it, because there was no way for me to gauge.
We finally started, we said, let's look at the kilometers and compare it to the odometer, and then we'll start looking in 29 kilometers.
You were smart for that.
That kind of helped calm that situation down. But even reading a map, you grab a map, you got a map, yeah, but if you can't read the words or pronounce them, then we're yelling back and forth at each other. That was the street back there when you misspelled. You said far from Nugan wrong. It's like
far from Nugan.
That's so true. That's so true. That's funny.
Do you have any idea how far, once you got to the pit stop, behind Joel and Garrett you were?
It was minutes, just a couple minutes. They ran in one end of it, and I think we went inside and then circled around and came from the other end of it. And we were pretty close to them. It was close. Wasn't close enough, but
I'll beat myself up the rest of my life of woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Yeah, I don't know why it would be more comforting to me to know, hey, we're lost, we're 2 hours behind. To be that close and walk into that final, it was just too close. But yeah, it wasn't in the cards.
I wasn't ready. I don't take losing well, and I was not ready to lose.
Hey, 11 legs of the race, though, that's a huge accomplishment. There's not a lot of people that have been able to do that many legs of the Amazing Race, so you should be really proud. You're great racers.
Especially with a few first place finishes under your
belt.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that. And I'm proud too, because there was a point that we talked and we said, you know what, even if we don't win, let's just make it to all of the countries so that we get to experience the real Amazing Race. And we did that. For that, I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for the opportunity at all. It was just an amazing experience.
Steve, what was the biggest takeaway for you from this experience that you learned about yourself, but also learned about Anna Leigh?
What I learned about myself is I needed to get in better shape. No, I didn't learn anything about Anna Leigh. She's strong. She's been that way. She's driven. I've watched her grow up her whole life and compete in sports and in her adult life. And we raised her and I always told her, we want you to be independent and not dependent on a man. Just to be independent. And she's there. She's exactly what, I envisioned her being as a woman. now she's got a successful marriage, and you know, she's strong and she's a leader, and that's what I want my daughter to be.
Great answer. Annalie, what about for you? What's the biggest takeaway that you learned about yourself, but also about your dad?
I learned that I have no patience at all. I learned that I'm way too competitive for the Amazing Race.
No such thing.
Yeah, I learned one about dad that, I mean, it just confirmed how patient and like what a good, reliable, consistent person he is, not only competing, but outside of it too. He's the rock in my life, and I'm gonna cry.
I still get pissed off though.
I'm just thankful for him. I mean, it was the coolest
Don't
experience
be over
ever.
puddling. You
I
can't
know,
be puddling now.
I want to go back. I want to do it again and be able to race with dad.
Yeah, there'd be some things that I would change, but if we take the navigation out of it, we'd have done a lot better.
I think y'all would be the top 2 every leg.
Yeah. Again, you guys were really such a great team. So much fun watching the two of you. I loved the fire that you brought. Again, that Texas heat was brought this season of The Amazing Race, and I personally loved it. I mean, Annalie, you've already said you would love to do it again. What about you, Steve? Would you ever do The Amazing Race again?
I would have to. I mean, to have the experiences that there's a whole world going on out there that we don't even think about being here.
Yeah.
You know, every day I walk there and think, man, there's some setting up a fish market right now in Vietnam. Or, you know, there's this guy in this wishing temple over there hanging these people's wishes up on the ceiling. You know, that's going on right now while we're talking.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not something I ever thought about, you know, that how much is actually going on out there in the world. It was eye-opening, and it was, you know, what an adventure to go to 8 different countries in 30 days. And yeah, who wouldn't do it again?
Yeah, I
Dude,
say
but
when you
you'd be
strike gold
crazy.
twice, you'd be crazy not to take advantage of it.
I know y'all would do it again.
In a
yeah.
heartbeat. If we got called tomorrow, absolutely, without a question.
I'm not in the same shape, but
No.
I haven't. What was y'all's favorite challenge that you did? And Steve, why was yours the river dance?
But you know what? Because I was kind of forced into it, we lost count of who had done what. We thought we were dead even. When we opened the clue, it said I had to do it. My confidence level is high. We dance all the time. I danced with her since she was a little bitty girl, and me and my wife dance all the time. So that didn't make me nervous until that little girl started hopping around. I'm like, wait a minute. We slide a lot. We don't do none of this hopping. Then they put me in those clothes. I was still okay until they put me in high heel shoes, and I didn't in the high heel shoes. I was more worried about breaking the ankle, and it was hard to focus on the dance. But no, the dance was not my favorite challenge.
What was your favorite?
Probably the glider was really cool to be up and be that quiet. They need some new binoculars because those are junk, just like the monocular. That's like a prize you get at Six Flags.
That's
But
hilarious.
just
Cracker Jack
to
box.
look across, to have that opportunity, just because you're done. You've got a 2 or 3 minute trip down, and you just look at the scenery, and what beautiful places out there, boy. There's just God's creations are beautiful. And we saw Slovenia, Stockholm. They were just so pretty. Just to be there, just, you know what, I had an opportunity to go there and see it with my own eyes.
Yeah, I think my favorite was the barnacles. We had the most fun with those darn barnacles. We were calling each other Mermaid Man about
Barnacle
Boy, and we were singing. And Dad looked like Beyonce singing all the single ladies doing his barnacles and that suit. And he was running around with his feet. It was so funny. And it was just my favorite challenge. Like, we actually had fun doing that challenge.
I had fun doing the fish too. Listen to her squeal over there.
No, stop. Horrible. Those things were trying to crawl up my pants.
They did.
Any final words to sum up your Amazing Race journey from either of you?
I'm sad it's over. You know what? I'm so glad I got to do with her. I thank the Amazing Race. You know, like I want to tell everybody out there, it's the real deal. It's easy to watch at home and see what you can do. It's not the same being there. The tunnel vision is something I've never felt before or seen before. The emotional roller coaster, and you know what? I'm so glad we did it. I'm glad that we stayed in it as long as we did, and I'm very proud of her. And nothing to be ashamed of. I'm sad it's over, but we'll do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh, for sure. And for me, I just think, you know, the relationship that I knew we had going in was strong, and going out is strong. And he was my best friend then, and he'll be my best friend till the day one of us passes, and I hope that, you know, we remember this forever. I know we will.
I love it. Oh, jinx. Well, I look forward to meeting both of you in New York to celebrate your season at the finale party. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and
congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
It's a huge accomplishment.